Two of the hottest teams in the NHL go head-to-head on Tuesday night as the Montreal Canadiens head to Tampa Bay to take on the Lightning. Montreal's playoff odds sit at just about 99% as they hold an 8-point cushion over the Senators, Red Wings, and Flyers, the three teams chasing down that final wildcard spot. With a win in regulation, the Canadiens could pull to within 2 points of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jakub Dobes gets the start for the Habs, while Andrei Vasilevskiy gets the go-ahead for the Lightning. Now, it was announced earlier in the day that Alexandre Carrier was going to miss 2 to 4 weeks, so Jayden Struble and Arbor Xhekaj are both slotting into the lineup in this one. Josh Anderson is back in the lineup after another short absence and returns to the third line, while Adam Engstrom was called up to serve as the 7th defenseman. The first star of the NHL of the week, Jakub Dobes, 25-8-4 with a 2.78 goals against average and a .900 save percentage, while Tampa Bay's workhorse Andrei Vasilevskiy has a record of 35-12-4 with a 233 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. Montreal got up to a much better start compared to Sunday night in Carolina. They generated a couple of chances, but that good start was quickly undone by yet another minor penalty to Jayden Struble. Way too many of these for him lately, and I'd personally like to see Engstrom take over for Struble in the lineup. That's just my preference. Jakub Dobes looked to be in fine form yet again in this one, making multiple terrific saves in close while the team was shorthanded, while also catching the odd lucky break, such as when Nikita Kucherov fanned on a puck with a wide open net. Montreal survived the penalty kill thanks to the continued terrific play of their goaltender. Then Caden Gooley took an undisciplined penalty of his own, delivering repeated cross-checks to the back of Holmberg and sending Tampa Bay right back to the man advantage. The Habs were playing with fire here. On the power play though, Kucherov bumped Dobes, drawing a penalty for goalie interference. Dobson got the offsetting roughing penalty for getting right in Kucherov's face and sticking up for his goaltender. Just seconds after that, Jake Guentzel got called for hooking. That put the teams at 4-on-4 for a minute before the Canadiens would have an abbreviated power play of their own. The march to the box continued though, as Lane Hudson went all by himself, splitting the Lightning D and drawing a penalty as he deked through multiple defenders and had to be hauled down to prevent him from scoring a highlight reel goal. Montreal went to a brief 4-on-3 before Gooley hopped out of the box, was replaced immediately by Ivan Demidov, and the Habs went onto the 5-on-3 for a minute. One-timers were clearly on the menu for the Canadiens. Demidov tried 2 that failed, Caufield tried 1 that failed, before Juraj Slafkovsky hammered one home and put the Canadiens on the board. His 29th goal of the season and the 15th of the year on the power play for him was good to give the Habs a 1-0 advantage on the road. Slafkovsky seems poised to hit the 30-goal and 40-assist marks this year as the newly turned 22-year-old continues to develop his offensive game, slowly becoming a dominant force on the team. The Canadiens' lead, however, was short-lived as Jake Guentzel picked up a loose puck after a missed shot, out-muscled Noah Dobson as he worked his way around the Canadiens' net before sliding one along the ice and by Jakub Dobes to tie this one up at 1. The Habs were not at all happy with this, as they believed that Gonzalez's stick got in the way of Dobson and prevented him from playing his man. It looked pretty obvious to be a hook that was missed, but a relatively even first period of play resulted in a relatively even first period result. A 9-8 advantage in shots for the Canadiens, and a 1-1 tie. Montreal looked right at home, playing against the class of the Atlantic Division and the class of the NHL in the Tampa Bay Lightning. Montreal showed through their play that they belonged at the top of the Atlantic Division and would be looking to make that their home for the next decade. Juraj Slafkovsky in particular really stood out in the first period, not just because of his goal, but his strength in possession of the puck and also while working along the boards. Montreal had a strong start to the second period and looked to be maybe taking charge of the pace of this one with the early advantage and chances. This one really was very evenly and tightly contested throughout. There was not a lot of space for either team and the chances were few and far between in the second. Dobes and Vasilevskiy looked like 2 of the league's best goaltenders, both rock solid in net and doing everything in their power to give their team the win. This one had the feel of a playoff game, minus just a little bit of that physical intensity. And I was really pleased with the fact that there weren't any really prolonged stretches through this one where the Canadiens seemed to be being outplayed or out of place. Montreal was patient, strong in their play, confident in their abilities, and it paid off as the Juraj Slafkovsky show continued. He fooled absolutely everyone on the ice, drawing everyone to him before sweeping the puck back across the net, right to Cole freaking Caufield for his 47th goal of the season, 3 away from the historic 50-goal mark. But this play was all about the skills of Slafkovsky, powerful on the puck, underrated playmaking abilities, and elite vision in the offensive zone to set up his teammate and give the Canadiens a 2-1 lead. Tampa Bay responded immediately again with a prolonged shift in the Habs zone. It led to an Alex Newhook hooking penalty. On the penalty kill, Jakub Dobes was again the Habs' best penalty killer with a big helping of Jake Evans, who blocked multiple shots and sacrificed the body without any regard for pain. Saves, blocked shots, and a shorthanded chance led to the Canadiens successfully killing off another penalty, and they were rewarded when Nikita Kucherov got called for his second minor penalty of the game, this time for slashing with just 50 seconds to go, sending the Habs back to the man advantage with a chance to stretch their lead late in the period, just like on Sunday night against the Hurricanes. This time it nearly backfired on the Habs as a turnover in the offensive zone led to a breakaway in the dying seconds, but Jakub Dobes read the play incredibly, realizing just how little time Hagel had, coming way out of his net, challenging him and forcing the shot with under a second to go to keep the Canadiens up 2-1, headed into the second intermission. So the Habs had the second half of their power play to work with at the start of the third period. They generated a single chance, but they weren't able to take the lead. Josh Anderson was totally robbed by Vasilevsky after receiving a terrific pass from Zachary Bolduc. Vasi was able to get the very tip of his pad on the puck and prevent that one from going in. Oh so close for Anderson, but the lead stays at 1. Things started to get a little bit sloppy for the Habs as Tampa was able to take advantage of a few small misplays and generate some quality looks in front of Dobes. And I spoke before about that lack of playoff physicality. Well, that was not true of the third period. A big scrum occurred behind the net of Dobes as Bolduc, Anderson, Lilleberg, and Gensel were all sent off for roughing. The team stayed at 5-on-5 but were given a warning by the officials. Vasilevsky and Dobes were both absolutely phenomenal all throughout this one. Each of them made repeated highlight reel saves and frustrated opposing skaters over and over, making saves that neither of them had any business making. I marveled multiple times throughout this one at how this really looked like a game between two of the best teams in the league. Montreal seems to have finally well and truly arrived on the main stage of the NHL. Now the Lightning did start to put a little bit of a gap up in terms of shots on goal, but it was more a matter of situational hockey and the fact that they were trailing for much of this one. It's not like Montreal was sitting back on their heels either. The Habs definitely had their chances to go up too. Unfortunately for Montreal, Vasilevsky was just incredible. Jakub Dobes definitely didn't want to be outdone as the Lightning's shot total crept over 30. He made some of his best saves of the night late in this one. Now, unfortunately for Montreal, Nick Suzuki got called for a cross-check in the offensive zone. Not sure I agreed with the timing of this call, but looking at the replay, it did look a little bit more legitimate. So Montreal goes down a man on what's going to be their biggest challenge of the game yet. Dobes makes a couple of huge saves, the Habs make a couple of big clears, and then Jake Evans absolutely levels Nikita Kucherov along the boards. A dirty hit, definitely worthy of a penalty, and he gets mugged as a result. The refs award a 5-minute major so that they can review it. The Lightning get a 2-minute minor for roughing. The refs go through the review process and determine that Evans penalty merits 2 for roughing, so the Lightning stay at 5-on-4. They end up pulling Vasilevsky to go 6-on-4 for the final 25 seconds or so of Suzuki's penalty. Dobes makes a big save on Braden Point. The Habs defenders manage to keep the puck away from their net until Mike Matheson takes a shot from his own end right as the Suzuki penalty was ending, lobbing a puck down the ice and towards the vacated net of Andrei Vasilevsky. Matheson's shot was true as it found the empty net to give the Canadiens a crucial insurance go, putting them up 2 with 2 minutes to go. Tampa Bay goes for broke here. They pull the goalie again. Hagel gets a chance, but he's stopped by Dobes. Montreal manages to steal the puck from Kucherov and breaks out. It's Nick Suzuki who skates the puck to center, fires it into the empty net, and ends this one for good, putting the Canadiens up 4-1 and icing this one. Tampa Bay pulls their usual stupidity at the end of the game, a big dumb scrum, temper tantrums because they're losing. Everyone on the ice, and I mean everyone, all 10 players, get 2 minutes for roughing, and this one ends with a final score of 4-1. Jakub Dobes with another incredible performance. 36 saves compared to just 1 goal against. Montreal pulls to within just 2 points of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They keep pace with the Sabres and Bruins, who both won tonight, and they put even more space between themselves and the Senators, Red Wings, Flyers, and Blue Jackets, all teams who lost tonight. And the Canadiens pretty much punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup playoffs with this win. The Atlantic Division still very much up for grabs. The Habs are 4 points behind the Sabres with a game in hand, 2 behind Tampa Bay like we said, and the Habs win their 6th in a row. The good times keep rolling in Montreal. What a game, what a team. The Habs have arrived, everyone. They are legit. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Check out the Discord server. The link is in the comments. And have a great night, guys.
Great game, boys. Way to fight for one and each other. I was gonna say, congrats, Bill, on 300. Let's go. First one, Billy. Yeah! Thanks, Bill. 300 points. Second one, nobody seems to know. Also 300 points. Cool. Yeah! That's it, Bill.